Hi team and good morning team. So here I am to explain the Capstone Project Prep 3 Part 2. Okay. So this Prep 3 Part 2 is nothing but the whatever the business analyst concepts are there. So it will be available. Actually, like previously also we have informed you that we are having 6 stages to complete this Capstone project. So in this 6 parts, like this is the last part. So I will be explaining what to write down in this prep 3 part 2 and what are the questions you will be having in this. Okay. And coming to this prep 3 part 2. So here you can see the first question. The first question is nothing but the difference between the brainstorming, JAD sessions and focus groups. So you need to write down the differences, whatever the differences we are having. So actually this prep 3 part 2 is about mostly about the illustration techniques. Okay. You need to know what is the illustration techniques and how many illustration techniques are there. For example, like we can say is that it has like illustration techniques are used in a requirement gathering phase for requirement gathering purpose. So here we are having 11 illustration techniques. So based on those 11 illustration techniques only, the questions are framed in this prep 3 part 2. So here you can see this what is the purpose and participates format output of this brainstorming, JAD, and the focus groups. So the brainstorming is nothing but to generate ideas and the solutions, and JAD is like collaborative, gather requirements, and focus group is nothing but the gather feedback and insights. Okay. And whatever the participants like usually like a diverse group of stakeholders in this DAD sessions, mostly the project team members, stakeholders, and facilitators. And whereas in the focus groups, we can say it as sample of target audience or else stakeholders. Okay. And here you can see this format, informal discussion, it will be. And JAD sessions, you can say it is structured with a predefined agenda. Whereas in the focus, it is a semi-structured discussion with moderators. And output is like we will get the ideas, concepts, and the potential solutions. And whereas in JAD, documented requirements, user stories, and use cases. And if any other change request happens, we can go for this chat sessions. And here you can see this detailed in focus groups, we can see the detailed feedbacks, observations, and the suggestions. Okay. And the document analysis. So what why this document analysis is very important means, so we here you can see it is a like we can say it as a very important technique in project management, because like it will be providing so many valuable insights, information, and the context, and whatever the need of the project, it will be available in this document. So when we are doing a document analysis, so it will be a very useful for us, like we will know exact whatever the things we need to do, and we need to follow, and we will get the success. Okay. And you need to understanding the requirements and contain valuable information in that, what will be the project overview and the scope, we can say. And it includes the quality standards, guidelines, and the procedures. Okay. And reverse engineering, so in this reverse engineering we can extract the knowledge, or design information from anything man-made and reproducing it, like whatever the existing project we are having, when we are handling that existing project. In this scenario, there if there is not like we don't have any documents, so we will go for the reverse engineering. And this in this reverse engineering we are having black box and white box. So these two categories are there. And black box is nothing but it is a system or a product is studied without examining its internal structure, whereas in white box, the inner working of a system, like whatever the internal part we will be going through, and we will be working on that. And the observation technique is nothing but it is commonly used in research and requirement gathering, and to require like for gathering the data by directly from by observing individual participants, and stakeholders, we can say. So there are two types in this observation techniques also, active and the passive. Active is directly involving in like it is a directly interaction with the participants, whereas in we can say passive as interactions, whatever the interactions we want to do, it involves indirectly. Okay, so this is what the observation techniques. And next one is this requirement workshops. So this workshop is nothing but is a structured approach to capture the requirements. Okay, so by these workshops we can get the we can get the knowledge about the project scope, and we can define whatever the things, and we will be prioritizing, and whatever the requirements we are targeted. Okay, and it will define objectives and identify stakeholders, create an agenda. Okay, and here you can see we will summarizing the findings and validate the requirements in these workshops. Okay, and the next one is interview techniques. So interviews are conducted in various contexts, such as during requirements gathering, and here you can see we can extract the valuable insights, and whatever the expectations are there, we can get the feedbacks, or we can get the needs from the individuals who are involved or who are affected by the project. Okay, and here you can see the two types we are having in this interview technique, like structured interview and unstructured interview. Okay, so structured, it is like a predetermined set of questions, predefined questions, we can say, before going for an interview. uh, like uh, we can we will be framing the questions predefinedly, and we will be asking those questions only, whereas unstructured means the questions are not prepared, just based on the answer given by the opposite person, we will be asking questions to him. So these are the two techniques in the interview. And the next one is questionnaire. This questionnaire technique is a collection of data commonly used in research, and we can say it as survey also, questionnaire or else survey technique also, we can say. And it involves mostly it will be involves presenting a set of written questions to respondents and collecting their responses, whatever the thing uh, the stakeholders knows, they will collect those information from them. And questionnaires can be administrated in a various ways, including paper, pencil, online surveys, whatever the face-to-face interviews, we can say. And where the questions are read to the participants, and they will be answering those questions. It will be a survey, we can say it as group of people also will be involving, or else we will go for one-on-one member, and we will be asking few questions, and they will give their feedback on that. Okay, and the next one is the how to sort the requirements. Sorting the requirements, it is a crucial steps actually. So we need to sort each and every requirements, and it helps to organize whatever the requirements we need to do first, and whatever the requirements we need to give more priority. Okay, so for that reason, we will be sorting by prioritizing and categorizing them. Okay, and sorting is done during the requirement illustration and document phases. Okay, and based on the functional and the non-functional, we will be sorting out it by giving the points to that. And like by when we are using this sorting, we can like we will be prioritizing each and every requirement by giving some value to it, that for example, we will be giving priority points for each and every requirement, right? Previously also, in you have listened that we need to give the priority points. So this priority point should be given to functional and non-functional requirements, and definitely based on those priority points, the developers will be taking charge to complete the task first, like uh, whatever the task, the priority points is highest, then they will go for the task first, and then later on they will complete all the next requirements. Okay. And how to prioritize, like prioritizing requirements is nothing but like we can say it as by using Moscow. Okay. By using Moscow, like must have, should have, could have, would have. So, and this prioritization is it like as a business values, impact and dependencies, like we can say it as. So there will be a business value given from the client side people. Okay. So based on that, we will be prioritizing each and every requirement. For our own organization, we can give the complexity points. We can say it as complexity points. So based on that, the developers will be working on that. So as a business analyst, we will take the help from the software developers to give the complexity points. Okay. So we will be prioritizing the those requirements, and by using this Moscow technique, mostly the client people will give the business values. Okay. And our business analyst people will be mostly like they will be prioritizing each and every requirement, like whatever the technique like Moscow is there. So based on that, we can give the business values. And the other one is like Fibonacci series, you can say like 1 2 3 5 8 and 13. These are the complexity points given by by taking the help of the software developers. Okay. And the next one is weekly status reporting. So for every week you need to like actually most of the organizations, they will be they will tell you to fill the timesheets for every day. So like you need to fill the timesheets for every day, and this weekly status reporting is nothing but, so it is a summary of work, whatever the work you have done throughout the week. So each and every day, whatever the work you have done and how many hours you have spent, so and how many tasks you have completed, also it will be you need to mention in this weekly status reporting. Like because whatever the contribution is there of yours in this project, the organization need to know, because you are contributing most of the things, but if you don't have the recognition, it is very bad. So you need to get the recognition, and whatever the company also, like whatever the organization also there, they also get to know that these many tasks you have completed. For that purpose, like weekly status reporting will be uh, like uh, done, and throughout the week. Okay, this will be a throughout the week. Whatever the work you have done, you need to mention in that. And in this, what you have been working on recent, like the questions can be asked like weekly status report. So what have you been working on recently, and what have you accomplished this week, and what are your top priorities, and what are your challenges going into the next weeks? Okay, these are the questions they will be asking in this weekly status reporting, and you need to answer according to these questions. Okay. So minutes of meeting document. So this mom sheet, like every time you need to like written the document, like summarize whatever the discussions and actions taken during a meeting. Like for example, they will in organizations, they will conduct the scrum meeting. So it will be like 15 to 30 minutes. In that meeting you will be like uh, whatever the things you have done last 24 hours, and what are you going to be this 24 hours, you need to mention in that meeting. So based on that, you will be updating the mom sheet. So it is a official record, whatever the work you are going to do, you need to update in this mom sheet. Okay. It helps to ensure that everyone is on the same page regarding the key points and the action items. Like they will assign you some work, so based on that, you are going through that work or not, it will be like business analyst or else project manager can track by seeing this mom sheets. Okay. Particularly important for tracking the project only, like whatever the work they are doing and whatever the documentations they are providing. So in this mom it will be available. So that is the reason we will be updating mom sheets. Like these mom sheets are, listen guys, these mom sheets are uh, like uh, updating after conducting that meeting itself. For example, your office timing is 10, for example, then this meeting will be start at 10:15 only, from 10:15 to 10:45, or else it takes 10:40, like it will be conducting 15 to 30 minutes. In few organization it will be closed in 15 minutes. In few organization it takes times for discussing all the things. For that reason it will takes like 30 minutes. So in this 30 minutes, whatever the things you have done, you need to update in the mom sheet after the meeting closed. Okay, meeting is ended, then you need to go through mom sheet and you need to update it. So this change tracker document is nothing but whenever the change request came from the client side, so you need to use this change tracker document. You need to create the date, version number, and document changes, whatever the document changed, and the name, title, signature, and approved by. Okay, so whatever the changes given by the client people, then you need to update the document, like whatever the changes you need to mention in there. Okay, and the difference between the waterfall and agile methodology, like waterfall is a traditional development model and agile will be a scrum model. And here you can see the development approach like linear and sequential, and here iterative and incremental. Okay, and flexibility and adaptability is less adaptability to change after project initiation, like change request can be very costly, so they can't take the change request immediately in this traditional development. Whereas in agile development it takes in a flexible way. It is we can easily we can adapt whatever the change request given by the client people. Okay, and whereas project planning, like it will be detailed project planning from the start. So like whatever the changes it may discourage, but it is a linear approach. Okay, mostly. So it will be going through step by step process. And here you can see the incremental planning welcomes all the change requests given by the client side. And whatever the things we are going to do, it will be we can deliver to the client uh, in a easy way, and we can get the feedbacks here. So here in traditional waterfall model, so we can say it as like after completing all the phases, and we will be handovering the project to the client, and then we will get the feedbacks from them. Whereas in this agile, we can get the feedbacks for 1 week or 2 weeks, like we will be participating or we will be conducting the sprint. So in the sprints we can get the feedbacks easily. And the delivery of software, we can say, is like entire system developed and delivered at the end of the project. Like previously I told you, end of the project it will be delivered to the client people. Whereas in this, so small it will be chunking, whatever the big work like epic we can call it as. So that epic will be chunked into the smaller user stories, and these smaller user stories converted into sprints, and the sprints will be uh, like uh, like whatever the sprints, it will be like 2 to 4 weeks. Based on this 2 to 4 weeks, we will be delivering those four to five user stories to the client people, and we will get the feedbacks from them. Okay, and client involvement, so it will be a limited involvement of the client into waterfall model, because after completing all the phases only we will be handovering the project. Whereas in this, so we will be using the sprints, like for every 2 3 weeks client will be involving, and it will be flexible to him, and we can collaborate to him, and we can get the feedbacks from him. And it will be very useful for development process. Here also, like in waterfall model also, we can get the client, but in the end of the project. So when we are conducting UAT, we will get the uh, feedbacks. Whereas here, for every 2 to 3 weeks, we can get the feedback, because we are going through these sprints. Okay, and this is the part three. Sorry, prep three part two. So these are the questions you need to work on.